Hello all, welcome to eLagaan Whiteboard Friday. Today we are going to discuss the most important due diligence, that is due diligence on secretarial records. So what exactly are secretarial records? So Companies Act requires you to maintain minutes of the meeting that happens every quarterly or at any frequency. Then there are other requirements under Companies Act such as maintenance of the resolutions and then maintenance of statutory registers such as register of members, register of shareholders, register of key managerial personals and directors. So all these records combined are called secretarial records. So we what does exactly the due diligence on secretarial record involve is cover is basically it involves checking whether all the documents as required in the under the act are maintained or not, and second thing it also involves is checking whether all of them are in line with the regulatory filings that have been done from time to time. So in our experience in last 30 to 40 due diligences that we have done, this has been a single biggest worry. And so it's a common mistake that commonly these company secretarial records are not maintained by the companies, and they are often cooked up when the due diligence comes. And in the process, what happens is the filing would have happened for a particular date, and in cooking up the documents, half the time some board meetings are missed out or some meetings have happened on a different day. Or let's say for an example, you filed a form. So let's say MGT7 filing, you mentioned certain board meeting dates there, but the other filings have some a different date altogether. And these are the mistakes you cannot fix it, because this is not like tax laws wherein you can simply file a revised return and it's done. Here, the revision process is very difficult, and it basically goes on record saying that you have actually not maintained the records itself of the minutes and of the meetings that has happened. So it actually raises a very serious question on the of the basically whether all the meetings and stuff has happened as per law or not, and it also raises the question whether a company is actually meeting or not. So so this has been a single biggest problem that we've seen across all the due diligences, and it has to be taken very seriously. So coming back, what are the scope? So as I said, the scope of the due diligence is checking all the records and ensuring whether all the regulatory filings are done on time or not, and whether all the records match with each other or not. So that's essentially the scope of this due diligence. So, what are the key requirements? So, here I would also like to highlight in the that whenever a due diligence is done, it's done from the incorporation to date. So, when a due diligence is done today, and let's say you are incorporated in 2015, then all your secretarial records from 2015 till date will have to be given. Now, let's take a scenario where one of the founders is no longer with the company, and these whatever documents are asked for secretarial due diligence are being actually prepared now, then would that founder can it's not very easy task to get in touch with the founder who's already left, and let alone how willing he is to sign those their documents right now. So it is of utmost important that secretarial records be maintained on a timely basis, and it is done on as per the regulatory requirements, and also ensure that all the filings are in line with each other. It should not be like one report says something and the other report says another. So the key requirements would be basically providing all the minutes of the meetings that has happened since inception till date, and second is providing all the annual records and also all the filings that have happened. So, what are the tips? As I've been saying throughout this video, so the most important tip is to ensure that so you have to ensure that these records are taken seriously, because these are very difficult to fix, and you have to ensure that on a timely basis, as the law says, And so let's say if it says quarterly, then you ensure all the quarterly minutes are actually maintained and documented and closed. It should not be an exercise when only when someone asks you, you carry out those exercises, prepare those documents and share. That would be a wrong practice. So that's the tip number one. And tip number two is always take a, always run a cross check whether all the documents that you are filing, it's very important that you do this at the time of filing the documents itself, because as I said earlier also, it's not fixable. So while filing the documents all itself, you'll have to ensure that all the dates have been put correctly and they are in line with the minutes and the records that have been kept over the period. The third tip would be to always ensure that these are done under proper company secretary guidance, because the penalties and the whatever fines are involved in these records are very high. So, for example, if you have not maintained proper records of private placement, the penalty can go as high as 2 times the investment or 2 crores, whichever is less. So it's not a small amount that you can take risk of. So it is always advisable that you maintain all the records under proper guidance and ensure it's done right from day one. Well, that is it for today. Thank you. If you have any questions, write us to at hello@eLagaan.com, and do check our website for open source documents. Thank you.